How you doing tonight, Eric?
I'm great. Just got back from a fun little outing with my boy and his friends.
Yeah,
Yeah, we went to Langer's. It's kind of like a I
I've
don't
driven
know
past it.
a Big Al's. It's a family fun center that's all indoors because hashtag Oregon.
Hello, Oregon.
Anyways, but they have $2 Tuesdays. And so my boy and a bunch of his friends, we went for $2 Tuesday laser tag. And they had a great time, and I got back and was like, okay, that was worth $2.
Best $2 you've spent all day, huh?
Yeah, and that included my lunch. Um,
Well, that's fun. That's awesome.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I know exactly where that is, but I don't think I've ever been inside the building.
Yeah, they got video games and a ropes course, which looks really cool. They have a climbing wall, a rock climbing wall, stuff for smaller kids, a restaurant. I mean, it's, yeah, just kind of like a big uh, family fun center kind of thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I'm glad. Um, Anything fun this weekend?
I totally want to say yes, but I don't remember. I don't actually remember what I did this weekend.
You told me at lunch yesterday that you cleaned out your office closet.
Yeah, that's not really fun though. I mean, so yeah, I cleaned out my closet and, found things that we thought were lost. Like collected maps and brochures of places we visited forever, and I don't know, a year ago we were looking for it, couldn't find it. Well, it was in the office closet, buried underneath lots of other things. So cleaned out the closet. So that's not really fun. I guess the fun thing I did over the weekend was, as part of cleaning out the office closet, I have over the years, when you buy a new Apple device of some sort, it would come with Apple stickers, like cool little Apple stickers.
I'm sure I have a bunch in boxes around here.
Yeah. So I had been collecting them for years, and even collecting the ones that, like, we would buy equipment for work. Work doesn't want the stickers, so I would
Right.
just collect all the stickers. So I think I probably had several hundred stickers. Um, so I had found an old piece of black canvas that I had purchased for another project, and I had a movie poster size frame, so 40 inches by 27 inches, and I covered it with black canvas and then put those Apple stickers kind of all in a grid-like pattern across. So I now have a Apple poster in my basement.
You are an official fanboy.
Yes, apparently.
Boy.
It was like, what do I do with all these stickers? I know. I will put them here
Make
until I
art.
am bored of staring at this.
Make
So,
art. There's
yeah,
nothing
that's
wrong
the
with
other thing I
making art.
did. No.
Very
It
creative.
was fun. That's what I did. How was your weekend?
It was very nice weather this weekend, so I spent a lot of time outside, which was great.
Checking
I
on the bees?
I did check in on the bees. I think last week or maybe the week before, I said that I thought I had 4.25 colonies.
Yeah.
It is officially, I'm going to go with 3.75. It is
So,
for sure not four. I tore down sorry, it is for sure not five. I tore
okay.
down, I went out on Saturday at some point and I was like, there's nothing happening there. So I popped the top and I'm like, there's no bees in there. So I actually tore it down and yes, there were no bees in it. I took it back to the shop. And then I poked my nose in the top of the others and just to see if they still had any dry sugar. And
Yeah.
three of the four of them had eaten up all the dry sugar already, which means that, they
Uh,
they're looking for food. So I gave them another bunch of sugar up top.
okay.
And hopefully, the next weekend that it's over 50, I'll go see how they're doing. If they're eating that down fast, then I just have to kind of keep an eye on them.
Right.
I noticed that I sat outside there I just have a plastic lawn chair up there. That's why I sat there for, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes and just kind of watched. And I saw a lot of pollen being brought in. Not like a ton, I shouldn't say. Not as if it was, a normal like spring, but it's February. And there were definitely bees flying in with pollen from somewhere.
Okay.
So good for them. But you do have to worry about in the build up in spring, if they build up too fast and they get like a large colony or, growing colony, and then we get like a week of rain where they can't get out at all, they can totally eat through all the food that they've got stored up and actually starve. It's more likely for them, assuming they have enough bees to make it through the winter, they're more likely to starve in the ramp up to spring than they are in the depths of winter. So long as they have enough to kind of keep a cluster.
Right.
So something I got to keep an eye on. But all the other 4 all had bees in them. And
okay.
So, I mean, for sure not dead.
Fingers and toes crossed.
So that's good. And 2 of them are really strong, seemingly. The other 2 were kind of clearly alive, but not super strong. So that's why I'm saying 3.75, maybe 3.5.
Okay.
We'll see.
Okay.
And then I used my Christmas present. I think so. I got a DeWalt battery operated chainsaw on the end of a pole for Christmas. I don't think I said that earlier. Maybe I did at Christmas. I don't know.
A DeWalt chainsaw on the end of a pole.
Well, I think they probably call it a pole saw or something like that.
Okay.
But I hadn't yet taken it out to like chop off some tree limbs that were threatening various parts of the property. But being able to hold I didn't even put the third extension in there, but being able to hold like it must be 6 or 8 foot long. It really improves the reach of your chainsaw.
I can imagine.
I'm gonna have to work on. Maybe it'll remove me from some historically dangerous situations that I've done, standing on top of things, wielding a chainsaw, trying to get a tree branch down. They make tools for this, evidently. Other than ladders and tractor buckets.
So, speaking of putting yourself in dangerous situations, can you go out your front door yet?
I can. I do have a front porch ish.
Okay.
They're
Ish.
well, they're not done, but the structure's there. So yes, we can go out the front door, and so there's no safety problems with that. But I don't think they're quite done with the railing. They're not done with the like the end columns, I guess, where the ends of the handrails are gonna end into at the bottom of the porch, and we're having brick put around the outside of it, and so that's still yet to be done. So I have 2.5 pallets of bricks sitting in the middle of my driveway at the moment.
Okay,
but no, it is not a dying hazard. 6 foot, 7 foot drop.
You've removed the rope around the door handles so you don't accidentally.
I have removed the twine that was tying the handles together. Do not walk out this door inadvertently and then fall.
Right.
So and I really like the steps. They came out really nice.
Nice.
They're just a little bit like they're 3 boards wide, so they're just the perfect size steps. I'm really happy with it so far.
Good. So I look forward to seeing it at some point.
Yeah. They're working on the back railing at the moment, so the front and the back porch will match. Not that you can see them at the same time, so it doesn't really matter. But
it matters to you, so that
it doesn't matter to anybody else, but it matters to me, and that's enough.
That's all you need. Okay.
But yeah, that's awesome.
Cool.
So, yeah, I had a great weekend.
Nice.
I had a great weekend. All right. Well, what's going on in the world of security, my friend?
So I saw this on Krebs. I think I'm 3 weeks in a row with Krebs articles, but this
Are you
one
now?
is tied to cryptocurrency. We haven't talked about, the fall of FTX
Uh-huh.
in a while, and I think that trial is over and people are in prison. Well, and I don't know if this came out at the time or if we knew. This was new to me, or at least I don't remember this. But this week, three Americans were charged in stealing over 400 million in a SIM swapping attack. So, SIM swapping
Ooh.
attack. Now, the government in the charges that were unsealed, and it's got the names of the people who were charged, didn't name FTX as the cryptocurrency, but it sure seems to match what people know. So the SIM swapping attack occurred, right? Crooks got access to the FTX account and started stealing cryptocurrencies, and it's somewhere between 400 and 500 million dollars. There's the article has different numbers, but Krebs quotes Andy Greenberg from Wired here, and I just want to read this quote because it's unfortunate, but it says FTX's staff had already endured one of the worst days in the company's short life. What had recently been one of the world's top cryptocurrency exchanges, valued at $32 billion, only 10 months earlier had just declared bankruptcy. So they declared bankruptcy. Executives, after an extended struggle, kicked out Sam Bankman-Fried and hand over the reins to John Ray III, the new chief executive, now tasked with shepherding the company through a nightmarish thicket of debts, many of which seemed to have no means to pay. And just as FTX, it seemed, had hit rock bottom, that's when the thieves took that moment to say, here's where we're going to steal some money. So they had just declared bankruptcy.
Wow.
They had just been through all this chaos, and then thieves struck and chose that particular, I'm going to continue reading, that chose that particular moment to make things far worse. That Friday evening, exhausted FTX staffers began to see mysterious outflows of the company's cryptocurrency, publicly captured on the Etherscan website that tracks Ethereum blockchain, representing hundreds of millions of dollars worth of crypto being stolen in real time. And so the indictment of these three Americans says that over 400 million was stolen over the course of several hours between November 11th and November 12th of 2022. And they're, between what these researchers guessed at 477 million, FTX reported it as 413 million. Regardless, it's over 400 million. That's quite a bit of money. And those SIM swappers, the American SIM swappers, were allegedly responsible for the 400 million crypto theft. But there are some indications that they had help from organized cyber criminals based in Russia. So just when you would think, man, this day is pretty bad, we're in trouble, we just declared bankruptcy, and now you're watching money in real time disappear.
Somebody said the words, it can't get any worse than this.
That's exactly right. So the article is actually quite a bit longer and goes into a much more detail in classic Krebs fashion, but that was the salient points I thought was the SIM swapping is, you don't hear a lot of it now. I wonder if the eSIM has changed any of that, how eSIMs work. Is that different than how the old SIM where you had the physical card, but it was still virtual? If that mattered, I don't know. Anyways, there you go. More money stolen from cryptocurrency. We've kind of pivoted to generative AI, so I thought I'd give us an old throwback to cryptocurrency for giggles.
All right. Well, my something fun is about AI, but
okay.
All right.
Wow. What'd you got?
That people working for FTX sure had a bad late 22.
Yeah.
So the article I chose was another hack back campaign. I guess, was it hack back? I guess not really. It's more the activist government clearing of botnet. So the Justice Department announced a couple of days ago that they took proactive action to remove botnets that had, or a botnet that had been infecting routers, and the government's calling out the People's Republic of China straight out. So the link I'm putting on in here, I first read the Reuters article, and it was like China, and I was like, well, maybe I should actually, let's see what the Justice Department says. So the link I'll put in here is Justice Department here, but the first paragraph in here says, a December 2023 court-authorized operation has disrupted a botnet of hundreds of U.S.-based small office/home office routers hijacked by People's Republic of China state-sponsored hackers.
Oof.
Straight out. Okay. The hackers, known to the private sector as a Volt Typhoon, used privately owned Soho routers infected with the KV botnet malware to conceal the PRC origin of further hacking activities directed against U.S. and other foreign victims. These further hacking activities included a campaign targeting critical infrastructure organizations in the United States and elsewhere that was the subject of a May 23 FBI National Security Agency and CISA and Foreign Partner Advisory. The government isn't pulling their punches here at all, and calling China straight out.
No words minced.
No words were minced in the writing of this podcast or of this article. Yeah, that's great. I love it. Let's see. So they didn't really say in either this article, which was probably the source of the Reuters article, but all it says is hundreds. So I presume that's less than 1,999. Otherwise, it would have been thousands. But so I don't know how many devices this actually represents, but it does say that the vast majority of them were Cisco and Netgear routers, and they were old, so they were EOL or end of life, so they weren't getting patches. And it says the court-authorized operation deleted the KV botnet malware from the routers and took additional steps to sever their connection to the botnet, such as blocking communications with other devices used to control the botnet. So, the problem is that, these devices are, if they're end of life, why are they still being run? And is there something that we collectively, the government, should do to deny the ability to run that kind of infrastructure, to provide replacement incentives, to, is this where our next buy an electric car rebate comes in? Like trade in your EOL Netgear for something that is receiving security patches. I don't know. Yeah. I think we can only hope, right? Let's see. I think the last paragraph I'll kind of read out of this was well, let's see. This is a quote by Christopher Wray, so FBI Director Christopher Wray, and here's the quote. China's hackers are targeting American civilian critical infrastructure, pre-positioning to cause real-world harm to American citizens and communities in the event of conflict. Volt Typhoon malware enabled China to hide as they targeted our communications, energy, transportation, and water sectors. Their pre-positioning constitutes a potential real-world threat to our physical safety that the FBI is not going to tolerate. We're going to continue to work with our partners to hit the PRC hard and early whenever we see them threaten Americans. So, there you go. And I guess the last thing I pulled out of this was that they tried to notify people, but if they were unable to find an owner of a particular router IP address, I guess, then they're sending that info through the ISPs, and presumably they have some way of twisting the ISPs to make sure they notify the appropriate people. But go ahead.
I was just going to say, so this reminds me of the other fun thing I did over the weekend. So,
ooh, what did you did?
I will interject something fun in the middle of the podcast.
Okay.
Well, no.
Format violation. Format violation.
Yeah. Something I did this. I got a new router. I upgraded my internet service. I just check occasionally, make sure I'm getting service and what I'm paying for. And they had this special deal, upgrade to 2 gigabit for like $30 less a month for, the first year. And so I called and said, I will pay less money for faster speeds for a year if you want. And they said, sure. So they came out, put in a new router on their end with the fiber. And now I have 2 gigabit to my router. The problem I now have is the rest of my infrastructure in the house is all 1 gigabit. But the bonus there is when it hits the router,
cry me a river,
going very, very fast. So
I'm. If you wait like long enough, and that's okay, we'll cut out the wait for the podcast listeners. I'll feel some sympathy for you. Just give me a little bit.
Give me a couple hours.
Yeah.
No, I was very excited about this, and then I realized that it really is, at the end of the day, not. I'm still pretty much, but I'm paying $30 less for faster speed I'm not using, which, okay, I'll take it.
That probably means by the end of 12 months and they raise your cost by $50, it's really only $20 more.
Yeah, whatever.
I don't know.
So anyways,
okay.
that was cool. My other thing this weekend that I forgot about, that you talking about routers and affected routers. I was like, oh yeah, that's the other cool thing I did.
I did that. That's cool. All right. Well, hey, how about something legitimately fun?
All right. So my legitimately fun thing is China. Oddly enough.
Okay, then.
So China has... well, the article is China's biggest missile manufacturer is working on a Hyperloop. So... we've talked about Hyperloops, and it's kind of like it's a unicorn, a purple squirrel. I don't know what the right analogy is, but Hyperloops are just, anyways. But apparently, this company has clocked a fastest speed ever on superconducting maglev train on a Hyperloop track of a little over a mile long, at 387 miles per hour, 623 kilometers per hour. So it's people are still trying to build Hyperloop.
They got a vehicle to 623 kilometers per hour
in a mile.
In 2 kilometers? Is it a loop?
Yes. It's a low vacuum tube loop, the Hyperloop.
But like a loop, like really like a mile track. So they can build up speed and just go around and around and around and around.
I think so.
Okay. When I was I'm like picturing you're I was picturing acceleration and deceleration in like 1.2 miles. I'm like, I don't understand.
No.
You're dead.
No.
But okay. So it's an actual loop. Boy, the centripetal force in that must be pretty awesome.
It's all magnets. So it's all, you're basically just flinging a bullet
your
around.
Magnets aren't on the bottom floor in that loop. They're probably on the wall, the side of the wall. I guess maybe it's on. They're always on that way.
Anyways, I just thought that was kind of cool that, hey, people are still trying to figure that out. I want to use the word irregardless, and we can debate whether or not that's a real world. But
You could just say regardless.
regardless of that, the feasibility of this, it is an interesting, fun idea that there probably some other real world applications will come out of this kind of research into this just crazy stuff. So, thumbs up for me, even though you won't get me anywhere near a train that's going Mach 5. So,
Yeah, no. No.
all right. What do you got?
Get off of my lawn. Oh, wait, you left 2 minutes ago.
Don't worry, I'll be back.
All right. My something fun this week comes courtesy of an Italian volcano, evidently. No. So this is Project Vesuvius.
Okay.
So I think the article that we'll mainly link in here is to a Nature article that describes the thing, but the actual root of this is at a website called Scrollprize.org. But what is this? So this is when Mount Vesuvius erupted, it buried a library, and in the
Pompeii, right? This is the famous
this is Pompeii.
volcano that buried Pompeii, and people have been researching and finding stuff for years. Okay.
Exactly. In fact, at the art museum here a couple years ago,
had the Pompeii exhibit.
Had the Pompeii exhibit. It was really cool.
Yeah.
It was really cool. Anyway, so this is in the I didn't pull out this fact. I think it was in the 1800s. They had actually dug out and excavated a bunch, hundreds of scrolls that were basically charcoal briquettes, because the lava, ash, whatever that they were essentially. You can see a picture of them in this article, and maybe we'll put that as the chapter art. But they're just literally looks like a burnt stick, and when they were first extracted, people, scientists tried to carefully pry them apart, but they just crumbled into ash. And so, the worst of the scrolls have basically just been sitting in museums for the last 100 years or however long it's been. But there's at least one scientist, but these people have been trying to do is figure out if they can read the scrolls by doing CT images of them and then identifying the words from the scrolls as they're kind of wrapped around each other.
Right, because they're just pieces of charcoal. You're not going to unroll it really carefully.
No, not the ones that are this far gone. And so so here's the thing. Brent Seals is the computer scientist at the University of Kentucky, Lexington, co-founder of the Vesuvius Challenge. So Seals has been trying to read these concealed texts for nearly 20 years. His team developed software to virtually unwrap the surfaces of rolled up papyri using three-dimensional computed tomography images. In 2019, he carried 2 of the scrolls from the Institute of France in Paris to the Diamond Light Source Particle Accelerator near Oxford to make high-resolution scans. Seals was approached by Silicon Valley entrepreneur Nat Friedman, who had become intrigued by the Herculaneum scrolls after watching a talk by Seals online. Friedman suggested opening the challenge to contestants. He donated $125,000 to launch the effort and raised hundreds of thousands more on Twitter, and Seals released his software along with the high-resolution scans. The team launched the Vesuvius Challenge in March of 23, setting a grand prize for reading 4 passages of at least 140 characters each before the end of the year. You might recognize Nat Friedman's name because he was the CEO of GitHub for a number of years. So, the team that did this, the winners of the contest trained their machine learning algorithms on scans of the rolled up papyrus, unveiling a previously unknown philosophical work that discusses senses and pleasure. The feat paves the way for AI techniques to decipher the rest of the scrolls in their entirety, which researchers say could have revolutionary implications for our understanding of the ancient world. They basically, for this, they got that says about 5% of the entire scroll. Not decoded.
Huh. Read.
Yeah.
Parsed.
Transcribed, parsed. So there are 3 students, one from Egypt, one from Switzerland, and one from the United States, all of whom had won kind of incremental prizes. So there were prizes, or the way that the project was run was kind of encouraging open source sharing of incremental steps along the way that people could build off of each other. And so these 3 students, who each had won intermediate steps, kind of got together to form like the let's crush the whole rest of the teams and built a super team.
Got it.
Let's see. But that's pretty cool. Across the world. Let's see. The scroll. Oh, so here it is. The scroll is one of hundreds of intact papyri excavated in the 18th century from a luxury Roman villa in Herculaneum, Italy. These lumps of carbonized ash, known as the Herculaneum scrolls, are the only library that survives from the ancient world, but are too fragile to open. Let's see. I didn't pull out the text, anything about what they read in there, but it's basically talking about the senses and pleasure of how. Let's see.
Yeah, this is still a family podcast, so.
No. It's like food. They're talking about food. Epicurean. Evidently, they're the Philodemus of the Epicurean school is thought to have been the philosopher in residence of the villa, working in the small library where the scrolls were found. Yeah, they're. Let's see.
Very cool.
Yeah. Anyway. It's only the small fraction that's done so far. So of course they set a new challenge for 2024, which is the aim of reading 85% of a scroll by the end of the year. So
wow.
That will be pretty cool. I have no idea, but I guess I assume that the farther in you go, the harder it will be to distinguish one layer from another. I don't know. I guess.
Well, isn't that the whole point of like MRIs, right?
Yeah.
All right. It goes through all the layers. But it's just watching the video. Sorry, I'm watching kind of the videos on how it was done, and this looks really cool. I am going to have to spend more time looking at it.
Anyway, yeah, very, very, very cool. Actually, I feel like I should have known about this, but my wife sent me this article. So, very cool. Very cool. Anyway, and
all right.
AI. Hello, AI.
Uh-huh.
There's some cool AI info in the AI article as well. Absolutely. All right, there we go.
Cool.
Have a good evening, my friend.
Yeah. Thanks, John. I will talk to you next week.
All right. Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.